Oh boy, where do I even begin with this game? I have so many things to talk about when it comes to Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is, to me, almost a perfect, well not almost, it is a perfect game. It is one of the best games I've ever played. It is on par with my favourite Souls-like game. The one it's told with being Bloodborne, as I mentioned, is probably my favourite of all time. And this is it is very close to taking over that spot. It is just that good of a game. If you played Dark Souls 3, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The game just feels and plays, and it really is one of the best games of all time. Today we're going to go over Dark Souls 3, why I enjoy it so much, why you should play it if you haven't already, and just a general discussion. So without further ado, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts on Dark Souls 3 down below. Be sure to subscribe for more Resident Evil, horror and Souls-like content. And without further ado, let's jump into the Dark Souls 3 video. So first and foremost, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way in terms of difficulty for Dark Souls 3. Is Dark Souls 3 a hard game? Yes. Is it one of the harder Souls games? Probably not, but it is fairly even. Again, like I mentioned with the Demon Souls video and the difficulty of that game, this is more of a not an entry point into a series because it does have some difficult moments in terms of bosses and environments, but it's quite fairly done. What I mean by that is, learn the areas, learn the boss fights, make a build that will counter them, or at least something that you're comfortable using. Practice, 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 because that is how you beat these games. Especially if you're not familiar with them, just keep practicing, keep trying, you'll get it eventually. And, after some time, after some patience and some concentration, the game will be slightly less difficult. The footage you're seeing in this video is, well, it's two things. It's probably my favourite bosses in the game. One is DLC, which I would really recommend playing because it's amazing. Which is this one, Sister Freed, I want to say her name is. It's a 3-phase boss fight, which is insane. It took me so many attempts to get it down, but that's what I'm saying, Learn, practice, have a little patience, and the payoff is so worth it, I promise you. Speaking of bosses in this game, there is a bounty of them. There is a lot of memorable bosses as well. For example, the Nameless King, the Twin Princes, this one, you've got the big skeleton guy that I don't really remember the name of, which, as easy as it is, it's quite a unique one, visually at least. Norm the Giant, there is plenty of bosses in this game that you kind of look at and you go, oh, okay, this is from Dark Souls 3, because they're everywhere, you know who they are. Especially, Vort. You know the music, you know the one. We all know that one. But yeah, bosses in this game, very fun, very varied. There is always a couple of easier bosses than normal, a couple of joke bosses in there. I think these games have a theme of having a boss, even if it's just one in the entire game of many, that's just a joke. Off the top of my head, I actually don't really remember who it is in this game. I actually do want to say it's a skeleton guy, because I didn't really have an issue with that guy. I kind of just went in there, immediately figured out what I had to do, and he died, But they all have one. Bloodborne has the Witch's Hemwick, which literally don't do anything to you. Demon Souls has King Alant in his true form, which are the slug thing, which doesn't attack you. And then Sekiro has the monkeys, which again, can't ignore you for the most part, you have to figure out how to take them out in a certain way. And it is fun, it is a nice change of pace, it's a nice break from all this constant wanting to just throw your controller sometimes because of how you'll mistime a dodge or you'll get hit out of nowhere and stuff like that, and it's a big change of pace. Moving on from the bosses and difficulty, we'll talk about the general kind of combat. Again, with these games, which I love about them so much, is the variation of builds and weapons, and this game is really no different. There's swords, spears, axes, goddamn katanas. Like there's so many weapons you can use, so many armor pieces you can use. The customization in these games is always incredible. Again, with builds, you can play magic, you can play heavy guy, you can play a super fast guy with loads of stamina and smaller weapons that do a lot of damage at once, but not in bigger numbers, if you know what I mean? Like you can dodge in, hit an enemy loads of times and dodge out. a build like that, or again, like I said, a slow guy that does heavy damage in one big swing, but has a massive health pool rather than a stamina pool. It's just, the variation in what you can do is amazing, and like I said in the Demon Souls video, I've played through these games a bunch of times already, and there's still things I want to go into the game and do. Okay, I'm going to play through the game this time as like a rogue guy, you know, with like a sword, or a dagger and a sword, loads of stamina, and try that. And there's so many things you can do that just make the game so replayable. And of course, there's the New Game Plus option, where you beat the game, you go back to Firelink, and you can restart the entire game with your current level and gear, and it obviously does up the difficulty a little bit each time you complete it. I believe the New Game Plus caps out at a certain amount of restarts. I'm not sure if that's true, someone will have to correct me on that. But I think it does cap eventually with how many times the difficulty scales on a New Game Plus. How many times that is, I'm not sure. I want to say 5 or 6, but I think that might be too high, I'm not sure. But either way, New Game Plus with your armor, you can level up, free fight bosses to get materials, and you know, get new armor or improve the ones you're wearing. Again, replayability is key for, I think, key for a lot of games. You know, you want to buy a game, you want to be playing it for a while, you know, because games aren't cheap nowadays, and you want to play a game that, well, you want to buy a game that you intend to play for a long time, especially if you like it. So replayability is key for most games, and these games are definitely good examples of what replayability can be. The environments in these games is incredible. I personally really like snowy environments in games, and this game definitely has one. I believe it is this DLC that has it, and it just looks beautiful. On top of that, obviously you've got Anor Londo you go back to, which is just iconic as hell, and it looks amazing when you go back there, just as good as it did in the first game. There's a poison area, which again, I swear it's a meme at this point. There's always a poison area in these games, and it is obviously going to be the weaker area of the game. I just don't like being constantly poisoned by the floor and every enemy I see. It's quite annoying. But there's plenty of unique environments in this game that you'll really like. I personally liked the underground before Anor Londo, when there's lots of skeletons and stuff. I quite like that area. As well as the first area, actually. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, obviously going back to the final boss and fighting in that arena was super, super cool. And yeah, environments are incredible. One thing that Dark Souls does really well, and it's very, very noticeable in the Dark Souls games specifically, and in Bloodborne as well, the goddamn soundtrack. It's present in every single boss fight, in every single From Software game. The soundtrack just makes the fight. It's so loud, and it honestly does kind of, at least for me, fill you with that adrenaline, like, okay, this is intense as fuck, I'm going to beat this guy. First try, then you don't beat it first try, but it's okay, because you get to listen to that soundtrack again, you know? Like, it's just so well made, and most of them suit the bosses and the arenas are in so well, that it really does just add a depth to the fights that's already kind of intense anyway, you know, like you're trying not to die with this humongous whatever it may be, and then you have this like orchestra soundtrack in the background pumping you up the whole time, and it's just so fun to just be in the boss fights, you know? Now, we mentioned this in the last video, but the PvP in Dark Souls 3 is, again, a very present thing, and people really do enjoy it. I am one of those people. Again, I'm not the best at it. I have been trying to get better at it over time, but it's weird for me. I really enjoy it, but sometimes I'll make insane plays and just absolutely destroy people, or I'll get my ass kicked very easily, or it'll just be a case of running around in circles chasing each other the entire time. But either way, the PvP side of the Dark Souls games is a massive community, and people really like it, and I honestly do see why. It's a lot of fun to engage with it and play with it, but it's not why I play the games specifically, but it is fun. I do like to dip my toe in every now and again and try and get better at it, and I might do content across the PvP parts of the games over time, but for now I think I'll just stick to the main portions of the game, and you know, maybe at some point soon I'll dip my toe back into PvP in these games again. But that'll do it. Dark Souls 3 is definitely one of my most liked of the Souls-like genre and the From Software games. For me, it really is almost on par with Bloodborne. I'll always prefer Bloodborne over it, just because of the style of Bloodborne and just the overall vibe of Bloodborne for me is a little bit better than Dark Souls 3. But in terms of a gameplay point of view, they are very much on par for me, but Bloodborne kind of takes the cake because of its setting and its tone. I just really like it. But as always, let me know what you think of Dark Souls 3. Do you like it? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's okay? Have you beat it? Have you not? Do let me know. Who's your favourite boss fight in the game? I'd love to hear it. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Remember to subscribe for more Resident Evil, horror and Souls-like content. And I'll see you all tomorrow for another video.